It's time for Recipe of the Day. Today is my birthday. Happy birthday to me. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but Marty is actually 1 year and 1 day older than me. So his birthday was yesterday, and we tend to do like a whole week of fun stuff to celebrate. We had a 1920s themed cocktail party on Saturday. It was so fun. All our friends were dressed up, and I made little like hors d'oeuvre kind of things that were passed around on trays. Like friends took turns. It was really, really cute. And then last night we went to dinner with a big group of friends, and tonight we are going to a fancy restaurant in Orlando. I am very excited. So I mentioned on the weekend show that I had chosen the recipe that I would be telling you about on my birthday without really thinking about it, without realizing that it was going to be my birthday. And then it's just this like basic side dish. And then, I looked at the recipe today, planning to just follow my calendar and talk about it. And I was like, you know what? This is really a good recipe, and it is birthday worthy. This recipe has been on Cook the Story since at least 2015. So it's an older one, and I stand by it. It is really, really good. I make it all the time. And if that doesn't make it a good birthday recipe, I don't know what does. So this is farro with cream cheese and spinach. It's a side dish, and you're basically just mixing some cooked farro with some cream cheese and spinach. There's a little bit more to it than that, and I will explain to you how to make it now. So you start by cooking the farro. You can cook it any way you like, and I will link to how to cook it in the Instant Pot, how to cook it in the oven, and how to cook it in the slow cooker. But I am explaining how to do it on the stove. And farro, if you don't know what it is, if you haven't heard me talk about this before, it is an ancient grain. It kind of is like barley in terms of how it looks and texture, but a little bit chewier. I like the flavor more, and it doesn't tend to get like waterlogged. It doesn't continue to soak up liquid and get stodgy the way barley does. So that is what we're talking about here. You're going to start by cooking it on the stove. Now the instructions in the actual recipe say to rinse it with cold water. So you measure 1.5 cups of farro into a sieve and rinse it with cold water. That is not necessary unless you're cooking it in the Instant Pot, but I tend to do it anyways. I rinse my rice, I rinse farro, I rinse legumes before I cook them. So that's just habit more than anything. So if you want to rinse it, you measure the 1.5 cups of farro into a sieve and run it under cold tap water, and the water just drains away through the sieve, and you're left with the rinsed farro. That goes into a medium-sized pot that has a nice tight-fitting lid, and you're adding 4 cups of water, or you can use stock. And if your stock is not seasoned or not salted, then you would add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. If you're using water, you would also add the 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then you bring it to a boil over high heat, reduce the heat down to low, and then cover it and cook for 25 to 30 minutes until it's soft. It will still be a little bit chewy. Now, if there is liquid remaining in the pot, you want to drain that off, but don't discard it. Don't drain it down the sink, because you're going to want a little bit. We're using it the way that we use pasta cooking water. So drain the farro over a bowl so that you still have that liquid. Okay, now while that farro is still hot, you're stirring in 1 cup of packed fresh spinach that you've chopped up and 3 tablespoons of cream cheese. And then you stir it in. The cream cheese is going to melt and the spinach is going to wilt, and it turns into a lovely creamy side dish just like that. If you want to, you can add a little bit of that cooking liquid we were talking about, just sort of 1 teaspoon at a time. It just makes it all a little smoother, a little looser, and then you taste it and add a little salt and pepper if you would like. So that is my farro's side dish. I know you're going to love it. And now I'm going to head off and do some fun birthday stuff. I think I'm going to go get a manicure today. That is what I'm going to do. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will have a wonderful birthday. If you want to do something nice for me for my birthday, head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a comment and rating on the Recipe of the Day show there. I would love it if you would do that. Put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there, or find it in our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/recipeotd. And hey, just a quick note. I'm on a recording hiatus right now, so for the next little while, I'm replaying episodes from the archives, including this one. If you heard me mention a holiday, a season, or something going on in my life that seemed a bit off, that's why. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you're enjoying these older episodes. I am Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, cookfor2.us, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.